Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Bye Podcast with Raven and Rhe.
I'm your host, Raven.
And I'm your host, Rhe. And today is a very fun episode. It is our highly anticipated life and death analysis.
So because you annotated on tabs. I could not put it down. I literally could not put it down. So I didn't want to stop and write. So literally, I had a pen in my hand, and I know. I mean, this book was very cheap. Actually, I got it in the beginning of the pandemic. We went to Target, and I had made a video. It was this was my first Twilight video I've ever made on my TikTok page, and I was livid. I was like, why the heck is there a gender bent Twilight book? I was so angry. I was like, oh my gosh, what is she doing? And then that video didn't really blow up, but then a couple months later, or 2 months later, I had posted my deleted scenes, and that's when everything took off. So, but really, Life and Death was my first.
Your first viral video? Oh my god.
Video.
Full circle. Oh my god. See, I also did not know about Life and Death until I think it was last year, beginning of pandemic, because I mean, although I love Twilight, I kind of did fall off of it and kept my thing hidden, and I didn't really follow the fandom. So I didn't know that in 2015 she wrote Life and Death until I watched a video on YouTube. Her name is Christine Riccio. Her YouTube is at, I think it's Poland Banana Books. She did an interview with Stephenie Meyer at the release of Life and Death, and I was like, what is this? And when they explained it, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. And I was like, I have to read this. And I have a lot of love for this book.
So I wrote in mine, and really, I just made little notes. I put smiley faces some places, so it's very minimal, but all my thoughts are in my head. I have
and see, you just recently finished. You finished yesterday, so
yes,
your thoughts are fresh. Mine, I went back and I did everything that I remember from memory, and then I slowly went through and did a little bit. So yeah.
So I do have some stuff that I saved while I was on my little trip. First of all, I just wanted to give a shout out to Emily and Mare. I met our podcast sisters in Utah. So it was lots of fun, and actually I was so fascinated by, because you walk in and they both have their Twilight collections out on display, and I was like, oh my gosh. And so Emily very kindly from Remember Twilight let me go through her Twilight stuff. Oh, it's she let me touch the gift that Stephenie Meyer gave her. She let me touch her signed copy of Midnight Sun. And then because Stephenie Meyer gave them each a little pomegranate seed necklace, and I touched it.
Oh, that is so cute.
It was so cute.
Oh my god.
No, it was so. So she gave her this pomegranate ceramic jewelry, cover, and then inside is a little bagging. You open the bag and it's a little pomegranate seed.
That is.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I love this. I was like, I have to do it so I don't give them ojo, which is evil eye. So they say if you're eating I don't know, a Pop-Tart and it falls, and I was looking at it, it's because I gave you ojo because I wanted some.
Oh.
So I was like, I have to touch everything so I don't give it ojo. But and then I saw that I remember I said in the 2 episodes ago that I was trying to complete my movie cover set of the Twilight books, and I did because Emily so very kindly gave me her copy of the movie cover book, and I think it was the only one she had, and she was like, dude, I got it for $2 at half price books. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, and then I had Emily, Mare, and Marin sign the back of the book, since I was like, it's a little memory.
That is so cute, guys. If you guys haven't listened to the OG Twilight podcast, Remember Twilight, then what are you doing? They're the originals.
I told her, I was like, guys, I don't listen to your podcast, but only because I don't want to get something information from your podcast and then say it on mine. And then, like, you know, whatever. And she was like, no problem, because same. She's like, I can't wait to be finished, because they do, like, theirs kind of in seasons.
Yeah.
And so she was like, once we're done, like, I'm going to go, I'm so excited, because I'm going to go listen to everything.
I gotta send, oh my god, there's a video on Facebook, and it's called Letters To, where, like, people will get letters. Have you seen that video?
No.
Okay, because Marin and Emily were featured on this Letters To thing, and it was Letters to Stephanie, and that's where they first, like, met Stephanie, was Stephanie surprised them on this interview where they were asked to write letters to Stephanie, and then they read them, and then little did they know Stephanie was there. And oh my god, it was so, I was crying with them. This was one of the first things this was before, like, we became friends with them and knew them, so I was just all like, oh my god, I'm crying with y'all.
But yeah, so they're great. And then Emily, remember Twilight also does, like, merch. They, you know, they sell stickers, and I'm gonna tell you this, their stickers are good quality stickers. I like Emily opened, like, her merch room or whatever, and she has all her stickers there, and I, like, picked up a pack, and they were heavy. Like, they're good quality thick stickers. So this is just gonna turn into, like, a Remember Twilight promo video. This is what this is turning into, but it's okay. And then they also made their dust covers for
They're so gorgeous.
And she gave me a set. And then she also gave me because they turned their dust covers into, like, full-size posters, and she gave me a poster too. I haven't put them up because I'm waiting for when we move, and I'm gonna put them in frames and, like, nice and neat and everything.
I mean, oh my god, are those posters on their Etsy?
I think they might be.
Oh my god, if they haven't, as soon as they drop, I'm getting them.
Yeah, they're gorgeous. Okay, so before we get into life and death, guys, I have a couple things. You know, I like to screenshot some stuff as we, you know, so we can discuss before. So this is when I screenshot it. It says, I had canon that Emmett and Rosalie sometimes pull a scam where Emmett poses and makes sure not to move, and Rosalie sells him to an art gallery saying that he is a sculpture, and then Emmett just leaves the art gallery in the middle of the night. And then someone replied and said, I'm not exaggerating when I say that to me this is the best Cullen headcanon any person in the Renaissance has ever come up with, and we might as well pack it up now because we aren't getting any better than this. I'm also really honored to be the blog post you've graced with this. Thank you.
That is... Why can't that just be actual canon?
Yeah, right? Like, I don't know.
This is what I need. I need Stephanie Meyer to write a book on the Cullens after everything with the Twilight ended, where she basically just gives into what we want with these headcanons and makes it canon.
Yeah, I think
we want goofy Cullens.
We want giant. I mean, Emmett is already a himbo, but we need, like, the extra mile. So something else that I wanted to talk about, and it was so funny. So we all know of this iconic, I'm going to put it on the screen if you're watching on YouTube, but the iconic picture of Robert Pattinson and his stunt double.
That is cursed.
Cursed.
That is cursed.
First of all, they don't look alike.
No.
But I guess I can see the height a little bit, maybe. Second of all, someone put in the comments that the stunt double looks like he could be Carlisle. He looks like he's more of, like, a Carlisle stunt double than, like, an Edward, but okay. But then you never really, like, notice sometimes in the movies that, like, there's sometimes some of the stunts are stunt doubles, except for one instance in Twilight. Could you think about the instance? Think about Edward. Think about stunts. We know that some of them are real.
Is it when he's running through the woods, or when he's I know he did the baseball scene stunt on his own.
So it's a stunt that you're probably not going to think of. It's the stunt where
the car.
No, it's the stunt where he in the very beginning, and someone attacks a deer.
Oh wait, no. Now I know. It does look like
it is
someone else.
No, someone paused on the perfect moment. Let me see. That is not. Who is
God.
that man? I'll put pictures. I'll add in the pictures later. But if you're on YouTube, you can see I'm showing my phone. But who is that man?
Summit Entertainment did not do their job right. We could easily tell.
We can tell. Who is that man? That is
no, because honestly, the scene in Eclipse, the fight scene, is where you can tell who's the stunts and who's not. Like, I found a screen grab of, like, Emmett, and in the background you saw Carlisle's stunt double, and I'm all like, who is this man?
See, I think in Twilight, they didn't, like, in the first movie, they didn't use as many stunt doubles because they were on a very low budget.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you have to pay stunt doubles. So, like, literally, I know, like, they said that they wanted to, Catherine Hardwicke said she wanted to do everything as practical as possible. So that's what they did. And, you know, even like the parts where they're like doing the baseball scene, like that's pretty much all like the actors themselves. And they went through lots of pain because of the harnesses. So I think in Twilight, there's very few instances where they have stunt doubles. Probably like that beginning shot. Maybe the car, obviously, because I don't like the whole like cool, you know, that the cool parts of the car.
Oh yeah, I don't think Robert
unless he's
in that parking lot.
Unless, you know, who knows. And then probably I could see maybe sometimes the like the ballet studio part, because that's where that picture is from, right? The picture of them two together. That's a ballet.
Yeah, that was his outfit for the ballet studio.
So, and Robert Pattinson in that photo is drinking a... It looks like a Pepsi. So, our man liked Pepsi.
Yeah, he was just minding his business. He was probably reading Midnight Sun. Because I know Stephanie gave him the rough draft of Midnight Sun when they were filming Twilight, so he can kind of get in Edward's head.
Mm-hmm. Well, he got it, right?
Yeah.
So, let's get into this book.
Y'all, okay.
Let me get comfortable.
So, while you get comfortable, I just want to say a disclaimer to people who are interested in life and death, because I have definitely gotten this question a lot, and I made some couple TikToks talking about life and death, and I get the same question of, is it worth it? So this is why I'm going to tell everyone listening or watching what if I think life and death is worth it. It all depends on how you interpret and receive it after you finish the book. Lots of people don't think it's worth it. They think it was just a waste of time. It took them too hard to get into the characters. They were all like, this is just the exact same. Some people didn't even finish the book halfway through because they thought it was slow. And that's totally fine. It's not for everyone. The best advice I can give when you read Life and Death is to separate it from Twilight. Go into it as though you've never read Twilight. Pretend like, oh, this is just a new book. It's a new book. Never read Twilight, and then maybe it can help give you that.
That was definitely a problem that I had in the very beginning when I first, because I tried reading it when I was on my road trip. I tried reading like a good chunk of it. But I don't know. I couldn't. And I was like, you know what? No, like I need to put the book down. I need to visit it later. So literally it was Sunday night. I was like, okay, I'm going to try, you know, cause it's a small book. I read this in probably a couple, like combined, not including like how I separated it. Cause I read like all of this in one day, or like maybe like all of this in like a couple hours. And then I was like, I have to go to bed. So then I read the rest later. But it literally, because I could not put it down after a second, like after like getting into it. But it's and I've caught myself like the first time reading it being like trying to like really analyze it, like okay, like Bella had this and Beau has this and blah 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 blah, and it's like no, like you have to do that after the fact. You can't do it during.
Yeah, I read this the first time last year. I went on a beach trip with my family, and I was the same. The first, 8 chapters, I was like, I can't do it. It's just, I can't. Like, I don't know what it is. Mm-hmm. And then it was after the Port Angeles scene that I actually, got into it. I was like, okay, we're getting a rhythm here.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't put it down.
It poses the question, so I don't know if we should talk about it now or just wait till the end, like our opinions. Maybe I'll save it to the end, possibly, or
Okay.
we'll go, but let's get into it, right?
Okay.
So I wanted to say that there is a little
forward.
Yeah, a forward that she kind of, addresses the thing. So she does say here that the only characters who are not gender bent are Charlie and Renee. Because she said that the reason because Beau was born in 1987 and it was rare for a father to get primary custody of a child in those days. Even more so when the child was just a baby. So, that makes sense, right? Even though we know that Charlie should have gotten Beau or Bella, either way, whatever.
Yeah, because Renee just.
Yeah.
Renee.
She also says some of like background characters are also, like very like that are mentioned once or twice aren't really gender bent. So small exceptions. And then she says that 5% of the changes she made were because Beau is a boy. Okay. 5% of the changes were made because Beau's personality developed just slightly different than Bella's. The biggest variation is that he's more OCD and he's nearly not so flowery with his words and thoughts, and he's not as angry. He's totally missing the chip Bella carries around on her shoulder all the time.
I have to agree with this after reading it, that Beau and Bella definitely have some different personalities.
They're
I mean,
different.
Bella did have like a lot of anger with how, like, I would say resentment with her situation. And while Beau was too, he just wasn't as like stuck on it.
Yeah. And 70% of the changes she made were because she was allowed to do a new editing run 10 years later. She got to fix almost every word that has bothered her since the book was printed, and it was glorious. 10% were things that she wished she had done the first time around but hadn't occurred to me at the time. That might sound like the same thing as the preceding category, but it's slightly different. This isn't a case of word that sounds clunky or awkward. This is an idea that she wished she had explored earlier, or conversation that should have happened but didn't.
Yes. Oh my god, when we get into this part.
Yeah. 5% were mythology issues, which I think this is interesting because that's a big problem with people, like people now when they look back at and try to analyze Twilight. The big problem is the mythology, which she kind of does correct a little bit.
Yeah,
like majorly.
She definitely, and I like we mentioned this before when we've talked about like the conspiracy theories and just Twilight in general, that Stephenie Meyer was not experienced with writing. This was her first thing, so she is gonna have plot holes that. Yeah. So I was very happy with
the way she says it here is that as she continued, she says mistakes actually most related to visions as she continued to the sequels to Twilight and even Midnight Sun, where she got to look inside Alice's head with Edward. The way Alice's visions worked was refined. It's more mystical in Twilight, and looking at it now, there are ways she could have been involved and wasn't. Whoops. And 5%, and which leaves a 5% catch-all for the many miscellaneous changes that she made for each for a different and no doubt selfish reason. So she says that she hopes you have fun with Beau and Edythe's story, and she had the best time ever creating this new version. And I'll save my opinions for the end.
When I was going through my annotations, I don't know if you want to maybe like do this now, or I can wait. I did a rating and listed the characters gender flips, so maybe I can like just for people listening. So for people listening, if you haven't read Life and Death, I'm gonna tell you the names and who their counterpart is. So first we got Beau, aka Buford Swan, who is our Isabella Swan. I actually rated that a 2 out of 10 because I don't like Buford. I like Beau, I feel like I like Beau, but I did not like Buford. And my suggestion would have been like if she needed a nickname that started with a B, what about Brandon and have him be called Bran?
Yeah, I think she could have definitely used a different name. I get the whole like it was a grandpa's, but I hate the name. I don't like because I say it like Beaufort. Either way, it's bad.
Yeah. I was just or like I would say Beau and not Beau.
Mm-hmm.
So it was confusing because I was like, okay, his name is Buford, but he goes by Beau, but it's spelled like Beau, and Beau is also a nickname. So I was just like, what the heck?
Yeah.
Edith is Edward. I love the name Edith, especially how it's spelled. Oh, gorgeous! Fits the time period. Jules is Jacob, and I feel like it could have been better. Like, I thought Jacqueline would have been nice because it has the Jack. We got Archie
and they could have called her Jackie instead of Jules.
Yes. So yeah, Jackie would have been Jacqueline so much better.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, we got Archie for Alice, and it's not my fave.
I kind of love it.
You like Archie?
Yeah.
I was thinking maybe like Arnold or Arthur or August. Archie grew on me. At first I did not really like it, but it did grow.
Because to me, I think of Archie and I think of like someone really like, I don't hear that name often. So it's kind of like something that I think of like that's out there. Yeah,
we got Prince Archie.
True.
Well, not Prince he's not a prince. Oh my god, but Archie the son of Prince Harry. And we got Archie comics. So we got Jessamine for Jasper. I think it's pretty. I think it's a mouthful, but I mean, Southern Belle kind of name.
Yeah, and they call her Jess, so I think that's cute.
Yeah, we got Royal for Rosalie, and a lot of people on Tumblr did not like Royal. Do you like Royal?
At first I didn't like it, but it grew on me.
Yeah, it grew on me, and also because, like, Rosalie and, like, her personality, that I felt Royal after it got used to. I was like, okay, Royal kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I was trying to think of what else she could have used, but I don't know. Because
maybe the time period, I thought maybe Robert or Rowan.
But then those are kind of, like, basic, right? And the way that she describes Royal is very royal, I guess. Unique. Royal-like.
Yeah. We got Eleanor for Emmett. Now, I like the name Eleanor, and I think it does fit the time period, but I thought maybe, like, Emmy or Emily with two M's would have worked for, like, you know, Emmett, because it's an EM. It's pretty.
It's pretty.
We got Ernest for Esme. Now, this also took time to grow on me, but when I did some research, and someone also had pointed this out, that I guess Ernest has the same meaning as Esme, and it was a popular name for that time period. So, and like Esme, I think means like gentle one and all that. So I was just like, okay, it's cute.
It's cute, but every time I heard it, I thought of like, I did not get the best picture of Ernest in my mind. Like, I imagined this like hippie dad who had like long shaggy hair. Like, it just wasn't the best. Like, it wasn't Esme to me, so that was hard. I don't feel the connection with Esme as I do to Ernest. You know?
Yeah, I don't know what other name with an E for a guy in the 1800s would work. Cause he was born in 1895. Edward. Oh my god. Then we got, I don't know if it's Corinne or Kareen. That's Carlisle.
I think I called her Kareen. Or Corinne. I don't.
Either. I like it. I think it's cute. I think the other name I would have thought would maybe be Caroline, cause Car. But I thought Corinne was okay.
Yeah, I liked it.
Okay, this one got a 1 out of 10 for me, and it's Joss for James, because his name is James. It could have been Jamie. Bonnie for Billy. Now, I thought Bonnie was okay, but, you know, Billy with an IE is, like, a feminine name.
Yeah, they could have.
So I would have thought that would have worked,
It could have worked, yeah. But maybe she just really wanted to make it really different. So, Bonnie's okay. That wasn't too bad.
Yeah. We got Victor for Victoria, and I'm not surprised. Lauren for Laurent. I did not like this one because there's already a Lauren that exists in the Twilight universe, and the fact that Laurent was a Frenchman in like the 1600s. Yeah. So I was like, what about Lorelai or Lucia or L'Oreal?
Yeah, I think they could have came up with something else for that, but I get why she did it. But
yeah, I got why she did it. But And then we got Paula for Paul, which not surprised. Same with like Samantha.
It just for Paul it just makes him sound a little old, but
yeah. We got Alan for Angela. Now I like Alan, but I also thought Alan would have been a good one for Alice's counterpart, and then they did Angel, because Angel, I know some guys who've been named Angel. And then we got Taylor for Tyler, Michaela for Mike, Erica for Eric, and I'm not surprised with these.
I think they're pretty basic.
Yeah, same with Logan for Lauren.
Yeah.
So I think those are all the main ones, like all the main major and minor characters. The ones and like the teachers were just switched from Mrs. to Mr.
Yeah. So that wasn't terrible.
Yeah.
Okay.
So those are the names, everyone.
Those are the names. So
let's get in.
Yes. I'll tell you once I have a note. I really like the preface because it's a little different than Bella's. You know.
Yeah, I noticed.
So Bella starts off with I never given much thought to how I would die, but dying in the place of someone I love sounds like a good way to go. And Beau says, I'd never given much thought to dying, though I had reason enough in the last few months. But even if I had, I wouldn't have imagined it like this. But yeah, so I thought it was really interesting that he, like, even right from like the beginning, he's a lot different than Bella.
Yeah, his thoughts are different. I forgot. I have a little key because I did use tabs. So I have yellow as quotes I love. I have orange as conversations I love. Pink are big differences from Twilight. That definitely, because there's some things in like when I was reading, I was like, okay, like the words are just different. The conversation that I didn't notice, but like the ones toward the end especially have like a lot of pink because like these are the main differences. And then blue are my favorite moments. So you're going to see a lot of the pink, the orange, and the blue together. Because, and then, I had to, even though we had this quote in the first book, I had to, highlight it. It's, when life offers you a dream so far beyond any of your expectations, it's not reasonable to grieve it when it comes to an end. That's one of my favorite Twilight quotes.
Yeah, and that's a different meaning for this book than it is for Twilight.
Yeah.
A very different meaning. No, I don't even want to talk about it because I'm going to cry.
I know. Wait, I got a question. Mm-hmm. Did you cry at the end of this book?
I did.
I did. Oh.
Bad. I was sitting there like, oh, okay. So chapter 1, First Sight. Let's see. I want to see anywhere that I had any markings because I think. Oh, so the one place that I have is on page 8. The way that I was doing this, I was just kind of just like putting lines. If there was something I loved, I'd put like a little heart, or something that made me happy, I would put a smiley face or whatever. But so they also say this in Twilight, but I just thought it was so ironic because. Plus, it's one of those solid iron monsters that can never get damaged when they're talking about the trucks. And I was like, well, foreshadow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then on page 9, he's talking about how he's not the football player. He's not the class president. He's not the bad boy on the motorcycle. And I was just like, I see what you did there, Stephanie.
Yeah. For chapter 1, I of course highlighted the iconic in the Olympic Peninsula of Northwest Washington. I had to. Yeah, but on page 4, so on page 4 I have a pink tab, and it's when Beau says, "On me, the pale blue eyes is less youthful and more unresolved." And then I have a note. So Beau has blue eyes and takes after Renee, whereas Bella took after Charlie and had his baby brown eyes.
Yeah.
So that's the main physical difference between Bella and Beau.
Yeah, besides the fact that Beau's also like cowering 6 feet.
Yeah, so. But also because at the end of the book, also his eyes, because. Okay, we gotta get into it.
The next part that I have kind of marked in chapter 1 I put his name. I underlined his name. I put a question mark because I was like, anything else? Like you could Beaufort. You gave us Beaufort, but okay. And then also page 12 because it says, seriously though, this wasn't a life and death situation.
I highlighted that. I love shit when they do that. When they freaking play on the title. Oh, on page 6. So this is another pink tab. Another big difference from Twilight is at the airport. Beau like bumps into a group of people.
Oh,
and,
I have that.
You have that too?
I skipped it.
Alright guys, so Raven and I are going to talk about the first big difference we see in the first chapter of Twilight. And it's at the airport scene when Charlie picks him up. So Beau only has 2 duffel bags. They're just going through the airport, heading to the cruiser. And he bumps into a man and a woman. And he says sorry. He's polite. But the girl's kind of a bitch and is like, sorry? She repeated like my apology had been offensive somehow. And he's like, yeah. And they looked very intimidating. They looked like they were people up to trouble. And as soon as they saw Charlie in uniform, they backed off. But not before, they glared. And this is a key thing because it sets up for another situation we see.
Yes. Yeah, that was super important. And when I read that, I was like, how rude, like, of them. Yeah. Like, not of Beau, because he was super polite.
I love that he's still just as clumsy as Bella, though. So yeah, that's the first big thing we see. Also, I think the conversation between Charlie and him with the truck was a little bit more developed. And he felt more appreciative.
He did. And I kind of liked, well, maybe I'm jumping the gun a little bit, but I kind of liked how well, no, I'm not. Okay, like the first night that he was there, he was just kind of like frustrated, like he couldn't sleep. But the first night that Bella was there, she cried.
I know. I got that. He's definitely not as emotional with that, because when I saw, I also was just like, oh my god, Bella cried out. But he still was also like, he like Bella didn't have time for hobbies because he was the main person. He did everything. And what else?
I have some stuff. Oh, so then also on page 12 she says, it's not like anyone was going to bite me. I just love that.
Foreshadow.
Yeah, foreshadow for sure.
Oh my god, I'm so glad that she kept in some of these, like, because I noticed that a lot of there's a lot of lines that I remember that got edited out, and I'm so glad that she kept on page 13. It looked like clouds and a sense of humor didn't mix. A few months of this, and I'd forget how to use sarcasm. I think it's worded a little different than how it was in Twilight, but I'm so glad that she still kept that, because people forget that Bella was funny. Her thoughts were funny.
For sure. So the next time that I have is what happened.
Oh no, you go first. I have a note for page 14 that I can't wait to read.
Oh, okay, well I'm on page 14 too. So when I was reading this before, like when I was on my road trip, I had to write who was who in this scene. I was like, okay, 3 girls. One was super tall. I was like, Emmett, right? And then I was like, another girl, color of honey hair, Jasper. And then I put Edward, and then I put Rose and Alice. Just because for like my mental note, I just needed to put down who was who there, just to get it out of the way. And then like I was fine for the rest of the way. Yeah. But that's what I wrote for that.
Oh my god! So that same paragraph, I love Beau's descriptions and his thoughts because they're so funny. But when he said, I could tell it was the first girl. One was, I could tell, was super tall, even sitting down, maybe as tall as I was. Her legs went on, and then it says forever. So I put a little note, and it says, put them legs on his head. Now he loved tall women. Megan Thee Stallion. Because I mean, I would. Okay, listen. If I saw a super tall girl like that, I would be like, "Oh hi."
What? Yeah, I know.
I would give it all for Eleanor.
Yeah, and she has dark curly hair. Like, what? Excuse me.
Oh my gosh, who was it? I don't know if she's not as. Oh god, I forget her name. But I thought of like Victoria's Secret supermodels who are like really tall, and I think her name is her hair is brown, but if you dyed it black, I think her name's Miranda Kerr, and she's Orlando Bloom's ex.
Oh, yeah.
I think she's who I envisioned as Eleanor.
I could see that. And then I just love the fact that they put that Archie has buzzed short hair.
Yeah.
I think it just makes him very like eccentric and like different because you don't see that often.
Yeah. Oh, and then we got Royal has long hair, like it was in a bun.
Yeah.
And I was surprised. Yeah, I was surprised. I was like, okay, we got the man bun, so he could obviously pass this. And the thing is that he's someone from the 20s, at 20s, 30s. You wouldn't see that, so I'm all like, okay, he would definitely pass as someone who has like that 70s aesthetic.
Yeah, for sure. He would. Yeah, Royal would do wonders, and in the 70s for sure. And then he, I did say this, but he automatically said that Edythe was like the most beautiful out of all of them.
I love that. I love that. He was smitten.
And then in this chapter, we also get introduced to Jeremy.
Who is Jessica.
Who is Jessica. Which makes me, I feel like just Jessica being a Jeremy in this book just makes it even worse for me.
I really do. I mean, I can't stand Jessica in Twilight, but God, I could not stand Jeremy.
Yeah.
I was just like, I don't know if it makes it worse that he's a dude.
I think it does make it worse that he's a dude. Which is, I think, an interesting thing. Pretty much, and then, like, all of this is pretty much the same. Except for, like, you know, like, it's changed from he's to she's and whatever.
Yeah. Oh, I love the part where, you know, in his head, he had been spelling Edythe as Edith. And
then it changed to what
and then it changed after he saw the correct spelling. And then how he said that, he said it was Edythe, not Edith, with the Y and not the I. He said, I never seen it spelled that way, but it fit her better. And I was like, aw.
Yeah. Ugh, so cute.
I like that.
I don't like Michaela either.
I don't like.
It's like I didn't like Mike. I don't like Michaela. I think
they really.
Go for it.
Go on.
I think something about like about the like the side characters being gender bent. Something about it just like makes them worse.
Yeah, I mean, cause like I see Jessica with Michaela, but like worse, and then I see Jeremy with. No, I wouldn't say Jeremy with Mike, because Mike was okay in the beginning, but then he kind of, like, you know, got a little territorial and weird. But with Michaela, I don't know what it is. I was just like, I don't know why I don't like you.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe because, like, we picture her kind of, like, I just see her as, like, she's a mean girl, you know?
Yeah,
so it's just
gets overly jealous.
And Mike wasn't really, like, Mike was disgusting, but Mike wasn't really, like, he was just more standoffish, whereas Michaela just felt more, like, evil.
Yeah. Michaela was very, like, hovering over Beau.
Yeah.
And when we get into blood type, I was all like, you don't even know Edythe, like, well, and you're giving her like glares like you and Beau are gonna get married, and it's like
she would for sure love that. And yeah, that's all I had for chapter 1, but it was pretty much a lot of it is just like similar to what it is in Twilight, but different. I don't know.
Yeah, the same goes for like chapter 2, I would say. I just had like a couple of points throughout chapter 2 where what was it when he was talking about, it was on page 25 when he's when he's talking about the Cullens, and I guess he was talking about Royal and Eleanor.
That's what I marked that down too.
Oh my god, yeah, I said Mambo. I was like, Mambo, you really suck at describing your thoughts or making excuses, because it was like he's talking about Eleanor and was surprised that Royal would be with a girl like of that built in that, and I was
that he was comfortable, like
comfortable
being with a girl who was almost his height and like muscular, or I mean, she's not a bodybuilder, right? But like she's pretty toned probably.
Yeah, and he goes, not that she wasn't hot, she was super mega hot, but not approachable. Mm-hmm. And I'm all like, Beau, you really just...
It's so funny. He said not even The Rock would dare to whistle at her, if you know what I mean.
I love that part. And then I love how it said, the blonde girl caught me looking, and the way her eyes narrowed made me turn straight ahead and punch the gas. The truck didn't go any faster. The engine just grumbled louder.
Yeah.
Oh.
So on 27, I did mark this. It's when he started emailing his mom. He put, everything is great. Of course, it's raining. I was waiting for something to write about. School isn't bad, just a little repetitive. I met some okay kids who sit by me at lunch, and I thought it was interesting that he said that. He didn't say I found some interesting kids, some okay kids to sit with at lunch, who just sit by me at lunch. Yeah. So it just shows how very disconnected he is with, like, I guess social, yeah, because he's not. It's not. I found some okay kids to sit with at lunch, or who sit with me. Yeah, it's who sit by me. So he's just like, he doesn't even consider himself like part of the group. At this point right now, even though he sits with them like at lunch, it's just like I sit down and they just sit by me, which I guess is kind of accurate, because it was kind of like they were kind of like, he was a new kid, so they were kind of like following him.
Trying to like see who he's gonna be friends with, who's gonna catch his eye.
Yeah.
But Beau had never, like, even Bella, like, Beau and her didn't have friends that much. Like, they didn't. They were very, they were asocial.
Yeah.
Because, like, antisocial is, like, most people use antisocial, but that's actually used in the wrong term now, because antisocial is against society. Mm-hmm. Asocial is when you're not really familiar with people.
Yeah.
So, I mean... And then, what was it? I think it goes
this is also the chapter where, like, Edythe ends up talking to him again.
I have yes, bitch, here we go, with the first conversation, mm-hmm. Just because, let's do it! Oh, this is also something that was very different from Twilight, is the biology scene with the mitosis lab.
Yes.
Because, you noticed that, how... Edythe was just about to go ahead and just do the lab by herself. She was, and he was just watching until
Mr. Banner came up and said something.
Oh my god! And because on the first page when they did the pro phase, I put no mind if I check -5 points.
Yeah.
But then on 35. He said metaphase, and she's like, "Do you mind if I look?" And I was like, "Okay, this will do."
I guess that's similar, There were some times in here that I was like, it didn't make sense. And, like, I guess just maybe she just, like, it slipped by her, but, and I'm jumping the gun a little bit, but it's when Edythe told Beau that they were gonna go, hiking at a certain spot, and he went home and asked Charlie if that was a good place to camp, when they never said anything about camping. They just said they were going to go hiking. So that's one thing that I was like, Stephanie.
I was like, Stephanie, you had 10 years to do some edits and you still slipped.
Yeah, that was one thing I was just like, ugh, it irked me a little bit. But, like, sometimes those were little things that I caught myself, like, getting, I guess, a little worked up on. But for the most part, I was like, this scene was pretty, like, it was up to par, I think.
Yeah.
But I do like that she did all the work. She didn't even like
Yeah.
let him.
Yeah. I don't really have anything for chapters. I don't have anything until chapter 5, really. Like, I only have, like, 2 notes that say these 2 chapters are pretty much the same as Twilight. So, is there anything that you wanted to point out?
I have one on chapter 3. This is. Where was this? Oh, so it's whenever he got to school and he realized that he was like, "Oh, my truck did fine in the snow on this ice." And he got to school and he realized that Charlie put weather chains or snow chains on his truck, and he got upset at that because he said like this isn't how it was supposed to work. I should have been the one to think about putting chains on my tires. But it's just so sad that like he thinks like that because he like is conditioned to be with Renee. Because like in over there, like he probably would have been the one to put the chains on all the cars, or whatever. And he was like, I should have helped him with this chore. It wasn't his job.
Yeah. Oh, Beau!
Baby Beau.
You need a break every now and then.
And then I'm on page 45. I put dynamic. I don't know what that meant. Oh. I think it was because I underlined royal and then I put dynamic. Because this is when like this is the crash part. And he like saw that there was, her family was looking on from the distance, and it ranged from disapproval from Eleanor, fury to royal. Which I thought that was an interesting dynamic because Emmett really wasn't just that as disapproving as Eleanor is. I thought it was interesting that Eleanor is more likely to, I guess, follow suit with Royal, whereas Emmett was more kind of like chill out, and Rosalie was mad.
Yeah, and we saw that with Midnight Sun in the one scene, the dining room scene, that Emmett was just all like, babe, chill. Like, yeah. So, okay, I didn't notice that. Look at you. I couldn't notice that.
But that was all I had for chapter 3. Because chapter 3 was very much similar, except for the chains and then that one part.
Yeah. I think the only thing I have for blood type was just a note to myself when, it's 67 blood type, when Edythe calls Beau over to, sit with him. I don't know what it was, but when she did that finger and winked at him, I was like, that is powerful.
So in chapter 4, the one thing I have is on page 57 when they're kind of having their little like back and forth little banter, and she tells him, "You're an idiot." And then then Beau was like, "That was my limit," which is, I was like, yes, Beau, because Bella didn't set those limits. Bella was like, okay, call me stupid, but he was like, she says, "You're an idiot," she told me. Well, that was my limit. It was bad enough that I was so fixated on this girl, bad enough that I thought about her all the time, dreamed about her every night. I didn't need to sit here like a moron she thought I was and just stare while she insulted me. I grabbed my books and lurched out of my chair, knowing all the while she was right. I was an idiot. But, like, even then, he still kind of, like, he said that, like...
He was mad.
He was mad. And I was like, yes, Beau, because, like, fuck that. Like,
yeah.
I wouldn't want to sit there and have someone call me an idiot.
Yeah, and I think that happens again. Where was it?
It does. She, I think
it was with the car.
Yeah, it's in the same conversation. I think she calls him like stupid or I don't know,
or absurd.
And he was upset. So it's good that she does something that he doesn't like. He shows or verbally expresses he doesn't like that, and she kind of doesn't do it again. Like, she'll apologize. So I was like, I kind of love that. I like that.
I do too. Because Bella would just let Edward call her that, and I'm like, bitch, if you don't smack him.
Yeah. Oh, okay, I think I found it. Oh, whenever I love this in Twilight, and I love this in Life and Death, when she was like, when he dropped his keys on the floor and then she went and picked them up, and she's like, I was
Yes.
wondering, a week from Saturday, the day of the spring dance, and then he was like, is this funny to you? And I was, oh, I just love that. But the
I
thing is,
know.
is like Edith. The thing is, Edith and Edward, they're very different. To me, they're so different. They're
Yeah,
so different.
they have two different like, yeah, it's the same person, but they're two different people. They're different personalities.
Edward is very much like loathing and blah blah blah, but Edith is pretty much, she does still do that loathing part, but like she's very like charismatic and like, I love it. I love Edith.
Yeah.
But she wasn't, I mean, in the same like thing, she wasn't really trying to hide it. Like, how was she gonna justify how she heard? Maybe, I guess, since it's a small town, things get around, but like, how do you justify that? I don't know.
Yeah. I also love that part. It's the same kind of scene with, the whole keys and they're talking, and then she insults his truck, and he's like, finally I was able to start walking again, goaded by the insult to my truck. He's like, make fun of me all you want. Like, yeah. I love oh my god. Beau, what are you doing to me, Beau?
So then, so for blood type, the one that I marked, is when he, oh, I love this. I loved it. He says, how can I not wonder? I mean, you're impossible. I didn't say it like a criticism, just a statement. You are not possible. You are more than what is possible. And I was like, Beau!
Yeah. I don't know what it is about Beau and his words, but just him talking about Edith. It's the same way I felt when Edward was talking about Bella.
Yeah.
I just love hearing when guys fall for girls. I don't know.
So then I'm not sure if in Twilight, did he say, what if I'm not the hero, what if I'm the bad guy? I don't know if he just said that in the movie, but she says it different. She says, well, what if I'm not a superhero, what if I'm the villain?
No, he says the villain. Too? He says that too. I think it's the same line. They made a bad guy in the movie, but I think it's the villain in the book.
Okay. Yeah, because I was like, oh, that's different. But maybe my brain's just my brain.
The scene with that cafeteria scene also, and it's the part where Michaela, I guess, is glaring at them, and she goes, your girlfriend thinks I'm being mean to you. She's debating whether or not to come break up our fight. And I don't know why, but I could picture her with the smuggest look on her face. Because I know Edward probably did it too, but Edith just gives me that powerful baddie.
Yes, she does. I love it.
Oh.
Okay, so blood. Okay, so I also had, I thought it was so funny. On 77, I have a weak vasovagal system, I muttered. It's just a neurally medicated syncope. I was like, what the heck? This
didn't happen. I gotta put a pink tab because I was like, wait, this didn't happen in Twilight, did it?
Yeah, I don't think it did. And then it was so funny because whenever they go into the nurse and he's like, oh my, which I liked because you don't really see male school nurses often. So I was like, okay, like that's kind of like, I like that.
Yeah.
Oh my, a male voice gaps. And then she says, he's having a neurally mediated syncope. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't deal with Edith. Ugh.
No, but the thing that makes it so funny is we know from Twilight that Edward has multiple degrees in medicine. Like, he could be a doctor. So her saying that just makes it so much funny.
Oh, and I thought this was interesting. It's on 84, and then she asked Edith asked Beau if she approved, and then Beau said that he just wants his mom to be happy, and that's who she wants. And then she said, that's very generous. I wonder, what? Would she extend the same courtesy to you, do you think, no matter who your choice was? And I was like... Well, what she really meant to say was, Would she say extend the same courtesy to you? Do you think, no matter what your choice was?
Yeah. And the thing is that I feel like there's some underlining tone to Beau that Edythe is interested in him, but he just doesn't get it. Like, the thought flies by. I'm like, Beau, she is literally. Because then she says, she said, not too scary then. And he's like, what do you mean by scary? Tattoos and facial piercings. And then she said, do you think I could be scary? So connecting that to, like, what she had said previous, I'm like, Beau, it's right there.
Yeah. Well. And that was all I had for chapter 5. For blood type. Which is, I love blood type. I love that.
Blood type, this was just as good as in Twilight. And I stand by my stance with my TikToks that we deserve blood type in the movie.
Yeah. So this is one part that it was on in chapter 6, page 88, that I got a little irked with, because she says, of course, because Beau was telling Charlie about his little push trip, and he like named all the kids, and he said, of course he knew the names of all the kids going, and their parents, and their great grandparents too, probably. But to me, I don't like how she jumped from parents straight to great grand. Like, it should have been like parents and grandparents. And great grandparents too, probably. But she just went from parents and then grandparents, great grandparents, and I'm like, whoa, that's a jump there. That's a whole generation that you're skipping.
Ugh. I mean, Charlie ain't that old, so.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like,
because like he would probably be in the generation with their parents, so it's like, why did you skip to great grandparents?
Yeah, that's why I was like, oh, okay. But and then this is also the page where she says that, or Beau says that some kids were talking about camping there, but she very clearly tells them that she's gonna go hiking. She says, we'll be hiking, and then Beau says they're gonna camp. And I was like, Stephanie, what are you doing?
Stephanie! Oh, unless he's just stupid. Unless Beau is just stupid.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Beau is kind of stupid sometimes. And this is where we meet Julie. Also in this, I'm trying to see where else I have any. Do you have anything for chapter 6? Because I think that was literally the only 2 things I had.
I think the only thing I have to say is that Logan is a downright asshole compared to Lauren. Like, Lauren was a bitch, but the way that Logan was just like, I don't know why Buford with a sneer doesn't sit with the Cullens now. And I'm just like,
yeah, Logan is an asshole. A literal scum.
But then, you know what? Beau literally, which we're going to get into it. I can't, what page is it? Okay, we still got a ways to go because it's on 179, which is a big difference from Twilight. And it also has, like, everything with one of my favorite scenes from Life and Death.
But that was all. Yeah, Logan is a major asshole, and I hate him. He can never be in another book ever again.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the one thing I was like, is this different? The dream that Beau has.
Let me put it. That's chapter 7.
Yeah,
right?
it's on
Nightmare.
Yeah. Is it a little?
Okay.
It's a little different, no?
This was one chapter that I didn't really have any annotations, but
I couldn't remember if in the dream it had in Bella's dream if Jacob was in that.
Jacob was in Bella's dream, but I can't remember if vampire was the first thing she thought of after she ended the dream, because I don't remember, like, she was so focused on Edward, and like the way Edward was in the dream is how Edythe is here, but I can't remember if vampire was like
Yeah.
That, or maybe I don't
Did
know.
Jacob
I do.
did Jacob turn into a werewolf in Bella's dream?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what
Yeah.
I was like. I guess it's just been a while since I've read it, so I was just like, did this happen?
Yeah.
But it's still, I was just like, it was. I mean, the dream was just crazy. And then what they had Edith wearing, I was like, period. So that was all I had for chapter 7. Was just that one, the dream. Um, did you have anything for chapter 7? You probably had more than me because at this point I think I was already just like reading to like enjoy it.
Yeah, I don't think I don't really have anything for chapter 7. This is also kind of where he does his research on vampires.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think I have anything on this one. It's not till Port Angeles that I have stuff.
Yeah, I have stuff for Port Angeles. So I have what it started was, this is where the first note that I have is on 116, and it's like 6 faces turned in my direction. So this is already after Beau has gotten lost in Port Angeles.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know if you want to talk about that a little bit.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like what we said at the beginning, like to everyone listening, watching, what we're about to discuss is the key point of why that airport scene was added. So
Yeah. So basically, instead of, because we know that in Twilight, Bella had gotten lost and came down an alley, and there was men that were gonna assault her. And this one, it's like a group, a gang of people, and when they saw Beau, they like started putting stuff away because they were doing illegal things, and there was another man that had a gun, and then he recognized the woman with that had that he saw in the airport. Um, and then she remembered that she saw him with a cop, so she automatically thought that Beau was a cop. And basically they are gonna like kill Beau. And I think that's not that I was like,
yeah, they thought he was a cop.
But yeah, so this one was pretty terrifying because they were literally gonna kill Beau. And then I thought this was super funny because on 119 they told him to, the thugs or the gang of people were kind of arguing because one of them was like, no, we can't shoot him, put the gun away, it'll be like too noticeable. And then Beau was like, I'm gonna make a run for it, and he put zigzag. That was what my dad had told me once, and I was just like, I put LOL next to it because to me, I was like, oh my gosh, this kid is gonna try running away and do zigzag and get shot. I just thought it was so funny.
Exactly. Oh my god, this man.
This kid. The next time I have a note for this chapter was, so on 121, she was like, do you think you would be all right if I left you in the car for just a few? And then he like reached out and grabbed her hand because he didn't want her to go, and he said, you're not going anywhere without me. I was like, Beau, don't do that to me.
And then he, like, the way he described her as Aphrodite.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so this one, it was on 122. Edith said, so I'm not allowed to go teach those thugs a lesson in manners. And I just put like a face because I didn't really like that line. I thought it was a little cheesy.
Oh my god, I love the, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you want to see this movie right now? And then she tells Jeremy, will it ruin your night if I make Beau take me to dinner?
Yeah. And so we didn't say, but instead of them going dress shopping in Port Angeles, they're gonna go to Port Angeles to watch a movie and get corsages for the spring dance. And so that's what she was getting him out of, which I thought was cool.
Yeah.
And then on 127, oh my gosh, I was like, well, this entire time I was just getting very like, I was getting these types of vibes, and I put Dom and Sub. Because I was like, Edith is definitely Dom, and Beau is her sub.
Yes. Oh my god. And then I don't know. I mean, this is one of my favorite scenes between Bella and Edward. So this is just I love the scene with them at Bella Italia
Yeah,
and uh
it's a cute scene. And then I was like, oh, is this like a little nod to Jane? Because on 131, they was like, they're talking about the hypothetically, if that someone could mind read. She said, well, if that someone, call her Jane. And I was like, oh, is that a nod to Jane maybe in the original?
yeah, like oh the way she smelled warily, like I hate that name.
Yeah. Um, and this part I loved it because I was like on 135. She paid for the food, right? And then she said, try not to get caught up in antiquated gender roles. And I was like, period. Because if
Yes.
anything, I think that's the one thing that the book got right was like it seemed very like female forward, very like and that's one thing that I guess people can think that Twilight isn't, is that like because a lot of the females have like um very tragic backstories, but in this one they really don't.
Yeah.
Like there, it's not terrible, except for like Edith. Both of her parents died from the Spanish flu. Um, Kareem's story is the same as Carlisle's, but like even like the even like Emmett, Eleanor, and Jasper, their backstories aren't as tragic as you know Rosalie's and Alice's were. So I kind of like that
Yeah,
that it
which
was it. She kind of I think she kind of corrected a lot of her controversial
mistakes.
things, yeah, in this one.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a note when we get to that part when we get to a certain part because when they talk about the backstories, I literally was just like, you see, Stephanie, how easy it was to not make Jessamine a Confederate.
Yeah, because I mean, she wasn't, and I was like, oh, I really think she did really correct a lot of her mistakes in it. So I applaud her to that. Um, and then I thought it was so cute that he opened the door for her. He opened her car door for her, and
Look,
she was just like how like whatever, and then she was like annoyed, like but like cutely annoyed that he was like being a gentleman.
yeah.
Oh, that was so cute. Beau is a cutie pie. On 138, I put a note. Um, oh, this part is I put a smiley face because it made me so happy. Um, so it's when he's about to tell her that he knows she's a vampire, and she says, "Don't worry about me." She said, "I can handle it." But I took her hand and she curled her fingers very lightly around mine for one short second, then dropped her hand back to the gear shift. Suddenly, I placed my hand over the top of hers again. I ran my thumb along the outside of her hand, tracing from wrist to the tip of her pinky finger. The skin was so soft, not that it had any give at all. No, but soft like satin, smoother even. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cute.
I would say the rest of this is kind of like the same as Twilight, where
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I have any like any more. Oh, on 146, um, he tells her, "I can do better than that. Just tell me the rules and I'll follow them. Whatever you want from me." And I was like, "Sub, you're submissive. He's your master."
yes,
I was like, those are the vibes that he's giving me. He's giving me very like dom sub kind of a relationship, which I thought was very interesting. Because in
yeah,
Twilight it really didn't seem like that.
yeah.
But yeah,
I
that
don't
was
think
all I had for chapter 9.
Yeah. I don't have anything for chapter 10 that I noted, but is there anything that you had?
chapter 10, let's see. So this is interrogations. Did enjoy the backstories a lot more than than
Yeah.
Twilight. So chapter 16 is titled Kareen. And this is where we just find out about Kareen's backstory and all that. And the Volturi.
Yeah,
Well,
and it was
kind of the Volturi. I did mark here the painting that they looked at. Is it a different painting than the one that they looked at in Twilight?
yeah, because in this painting it's Sulpicia, Marcus, and Athena Dora.
Yeah, and I was like, ooh, I love that.
Oh,
And then
also in this chapter is we learn of Melly.
yes, who is a servant. It was Sulpicia's little thief. So
I think about her in that one chapter that we'll get to.
yeah. But and then I thought this was interesting. Oh, so this is what I loved on 268. Um, Edith talks about how she left Kareen, and I was like, fucking it. The backstory of of Edith going and killing people who were predators makes that so much more powerful than Edward doing it.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
so much. It's more like because I think in Edward's sense, it was like Edward doing it for vengeance to make up for who he thought he was. But like, and I think it's in a similar way. It's for Edith too. But like, it's more like woman power, like woman driven, and I love it.
Yes. Oh, I love that.
And that was all I had for chapter
And then
16.
yeah, and then she keeps calling herself the monster. I was like, oh, you really are Edward here. Oh,
Yeah.
I 270. I mean, it's one of my favorite parts in Twilight, but in here it just is so I don't know why, but it's when, she crouches down and she like jumps on him and he goes flying back into the couch with her on top of
Oh,
him. And he goes, wow, and she's like, you were saying? And then he replies, that you are a very, very terrifying monster. She grinned much better, and then he says, and that I'm so and completely in love with you. And her face went soft and eyes went wide, and I'm just like, oh my god.
I know. Oh, I love that scene in Twilight, and I love
Cute.
that scene here. That's like one of my favorite parts in this entire book. In both Twilight and this book. It's just such a beautiful part.
Oh,
Um,
and then
chapter
that's all I have
17.
for
Yeah, for chapter 17,
uh,
I have marked. Um, oh, I love this. So they do it again. They did it in Twilight, but I love the part, and it's whenever Edith takes a Beau home, and then Bonnie is there, and she puts her lips to the side of his neck, and I love that in Twilight, and I love that here too.
yes.
It's so
Uh,
sensual, so the,
I don't know
the
what it is about Edith being. I don't know what it is about Edith, the girl being the vampire in this story, that just gets me like, oh, by panic right now. Because,
yes.
oh, I don't have the only thing I have. Okay, so let me see. Um, no, I think the only note I have is it was with Ernest's backstory, but I think we learned more about because it said with Ernest it's 286, so it talks about Ernest and how Edith was the first of his new children, and then about how he wondered if Grace um Grace would have grown to be such an amazing person. I marked it here like wish there was detail on how Ernest lost his daughter, but then I think we did find out like what happened.
Yeah. I do have a note here, and it's when they're about to go for the game, and then she's like, "Do you remember what I was saying about mind over matter?" She asked. Yes. Maybe if you concentrated on something else, like what? Suddenly, she was in the Jeep with me, one knee on the seat next to my leg, like her hands on my shoulders. Her face was only inches away. I had a light heart attack. And then they like started making out.
Oh my god, I swear they are just like, oh.
I love that.
I love
I just thought like, how did Beau not get a boner?
No, exactly. Why? You know, she could have added that because he should have had at least one.
There's several times he should have had it several times.
I mean,
I
when
think
she was straddling him, when she like put her face up to his neck in front of Bonnie, I mean, Beau either has some really good self control or he's just not like
that's what I was
I
saying.
don't
Like,
know, but
well,
he
I guess Bella and Beau do have that. They are very self control, right? But I feel like there should have been several times that he should have had a boner.
like yeah, like there's nothing wrong with it.
And then I don't have anything else
Um,
because I feel like everything else is pretty much the same until we get to
yeah,
after, the after the hunt. I just want to skip already
yeah.
because I love the ending.
Yeah, I only have one note, and that's to myself with the name for James, which is Joss, where I was just all like, seriously, Joss, Jamie would have been perfect. There's already a Lauren. Just Google French girl names that start with L.
Yeah.
So
So I
just
don't
me
even
being
I
excessive.
I honestly don't even think I like wrote anything down for these last parts because I was like so literally it was like
Oh,
19 on that I was like so like what in the world is going on?
yeah, I don't have anything until chapter 23.
Okay. Well, so then maybe we should just talk about what happened and then give our opinions because Lord, the ending
Yes.
of this book.
Yeah, so for y'all listening, we are gonna skip between chapter what is it, chapter 19 all the way to 23, because that's pretty much the same as Twilight with maybe a few like words added to conversations. But
Mhm.
23 is where it kicks off. Like this is where Life and Death is completely different from Twilight.
Yeah. So basically, what happened? Well, everything's pretty much the same up until the point where they get to the hotel, right? All of that is the same. The way that they escape is the same. The way that Beau escapes from the airport is the same. What's
Yeah.
different is the way that Archie's visions work. They're different than Alice. Two, oh my gosh, I just can't. So pretty much everything's the same. But then you get to the ballet studio, right? And Jaws, I hate that name. Jaws, which is James, is attacking Beau and all that, and happens to bite Beau the same way that James bit Bella. Um, and then I think Beau thought he was going to die. Like Beau literally thought he was probably about to die in that instant. And then obviously the Cullens get there, save the day. But Beau had already started feeling the fire in his hand because he had gotten bit. And
Yeah.
by the time that they had gotten there and fought off Joss or whatever and got to Beau, who had thrown up on himself, who had several fractures everywhere in his body. They were like, we need to help him, blah blah blah, and Beau was trying to tell them like, it's not that's not hurting me. I am bit, and he was like told them my hand, and they looked, and he was bit. And then Rhe, take it from here because I'm gonna cry.
Okay, y'all. So I also want to just point out that a big thing that the difference is in why Beau sustained hella more injuries than Bella, and why this came to the choice is because Beau left time in the timeline. Beau left 5 minutes earlier than what Bella did. So
Mhm.
that 5 minutes is what changed this outcome because unfortunately the venom was just already in his system and she wouldn't have been able to do it. And Archie told Edith like that you have like there's no other way and that it Edith's like he deserves a choice, and then she goes, Beau, I won't make this decision for you. I won't take this away from you, and I understand. I promise, Beau. If you don't want to live like this, I won't fight you. I respect what you want. I know it's a horrible choice. I would give you any other option if I could. I would die if I could give your life back to you, but I can't make that trade. I can't do anything except stop the pain. If that's what you want, you don't have to be this. I can let you go if that's what you need. It sounded like she was sobbing again. Tell me what you want, Beau. And he goes, you, just you. When she asks, are you? Yes, just let me stay with you. And then Archie was about to push her out of the way and say, out of my way, Edith. And her voice says, I didn't make any oaths either. And then she bites him in the throat and Beau starts the process of changing into a vampire.
Oh.
And I cried so bad, especially because, oh my God, I'm already tearing up thinking about it because it's just like this could have happened if Bella left 5 minutes before than what she did. Like, and we're going to see the outcome of what could have happened. And it's like, then he goes in 24, he goes, I ended up changing my mind. The fire in my arm wasn't really so bad. The worst thing I'd felt up to that point, but not the same as my entire body. So he has to go, he's going through the change. And because it was on his finger, it would have taken longer. So she bit him on the neck because it was closer to the heart. And Edith held him. Edith held him the entire time. They got everything ready, and the entire road trip back to Forks, they talked about what's to come, how he can't see his family again, how he needs to know the rules, and I was just like, when I was reading this, I was like, Charlie.
My heart broke into a million pieces. I want to cry talking about it now because I'm trying to think of this in the context of Bella. But
exactly,
I know that even if Bella got changed and Edward said you can't see your family anymore, Bella would have said no. Bella would have been like, it's not gonna happen like that. Like you don't like it can't happen like that. Even though like at the end like of the movie, Bella was still gonna like make it seem like she died anyways. But like,
yeah,
I just know that there would have been Bella would have found a reason to be like, no, it can't happen like this. But Beau was just so okay with it.
yeah, and so the Cullens take turns, telling their story. They sat by him. I really like that they sat next to him while he was changing, and Edith told him told him that he's gonna be 17 all his life, that they're gonna have to move around from cloudy place to cloudy place. They're gonna have to get new documents. They're gonna have to He would never sleep again. Food would be disgusting. He would never get sick. And all the thing. And he
Heartbreaking.
what else? And it just, what was it? And then when he finally started, his heart started to beat very loud. This is on 362. His heart got faster, meaning that it was coming to an end. And she was there right next to him, waiting for him to be fully turned. Yeah, to die. His heart stopped, and he couldn't hear no sound, no breathing, not even his own. And I cried because I don't know why, like, it just got me so emotional this entire
Mm-hmm.
and, like, I mean, I was happy that they're gonna be together forever, but part of me was all like, "No, no."
It's so bittersweet, I think, and because it's like we got what I guess a lot of people question, like why couldn't have Bella just been changed? But then at the same time, I think the reason why it's so bittersweet to us is that like there's no more story to be had because that's it. Like that's the ending of it. But yeah, I sobbed, I wept like a baby. I felt, and so basically in Twilight, the epilogue is the prom, and then in this one, it's not prom.
It's not prom, it's Beau and Edythe are up in a tree, like, a few miles away from a church, and they're watching his funeral.
I can't deal with that.
I could not believe I did not I would have been able to do that. To see my parents, like and, like, he Charlie was oh, I could not, like, I could
Charlie
not
Charlie was
believe
distraught.
Charlie was distraught. It says, "Even in the distance, I could see that Charlie looked 20 years older, and my mom moved like she was sleepwalking." Like, oh my god.
I can't.
And the thing is that it's the fact that, so it's not Beau in the casket. They ended up, or I can't remember, is the casket empty, or did they find someone just
They
made it, like
they found someone. They found
yeah.
someone who I don't know what exactly what how, but then like apparently he was like already like to the brink of his life. It was a I think it was a like a kid who was like similar, and they burned the body in the truck and removed all the teeth and the fingernails to make sure that it wasn't really like recognizable.
Identifiable. Yeah, and so they were gonna bury him right next to Grandma and Grandpa Swan.
It was so depressing.
Oh, that is so depressing. And oh my god, and then this conversation is one of my favorites that they have. It's 375. Beau goes, "You never wanted this from me. What did you want? How did you see things happening? Going with the fact that I was going to be in love I was always going to be in love with you." And Edith said, "Best case scenario, I hope that I would get strong enough that we could be together while you were human, that we could be something more than just boyfriend and girlfriend. Someday, if you didn't outgrow me more than just husband and wife, we wouldn't be able to grow old together, but I would have stayed with you while you grew old. I would have been with you all through the years of your life. And then when your life was over, I wouldn't have wanted to stay without you. I would have found a way to follow."
Mm.
And then he laughed because he said that was a really horrible idea. Can you imagine when people thought I was your dad, your granddad?
And then the iconic last line of this book is
Ooh,
they basically both proposes to her very nonchalantly, and then at the end he says, um, "Forever," I said. "Forever," she agreed. I leaned down until my lips found hers. Forever was going to be amazing. Oh, but not even to. We didn't even talk about the iconic scene before this. Is Bonnie knew.
yeah, Bonnie knew when she saw the Cullens at the funeral and didn't see Edith. She knew.
She knew. And so basically the wolves um went over to the Cullens, and they wanted to kick them out, run them out of town because they thought that they changed Beau. And then when they explained and Beau explained, they were like, well, we got to meet somewhere else to talk about this with Bonnie. And then they did, and Bonnie saw Beau, and she like was like, "You're not Beau." Like she didn't even recognize him because he of like his
Yeah.
changes and stuff, and he was like, "No, it's me." And then basically, I guess she was just he told her to take care of Charlie. And then I kind of thought that I figured because in the books, Charlie marries Sue, right? Or is dating Sue. And I was like, ooh, it'd be very interesting if Bonnie and Charlie were dated in the future.
Yeah, that would
That's
be very ooh.
that's all I see. But in that situation, and but she was like, take care of him. She was like, I was always going to. And then he asked her to just tell Jules that he's okay and that he's happy and that it was pretty cool being a vampire.
Oh God,
um,
there he go with those words.
hmm
I
and yeah, and it was forever.
I oh my God, I put at the end. I was like, "There's Stephanie go again with forever, making me cry." Um, when he said on 376, "You're the life I choose."
Yeah.
And
Well,
guys, so then as there was a forward, there was an afterward. And Stephanie says in the afterword, she said, that she lied and there was an alternate ending, and she goes, so that is the end of Beau and Edith's story. You are free to imagine the rest, when, where, and how they get married, what Victor might try in order to get revenge, what Beau and Jules will say to each other when they meet again, if Beau and Royal ever become friends, whether the Volturi led by Sulpicia are more benign, less corrupt organization. I think so. I hope you've enjoyed a different look at Twilight that really isn't very different at all, except for the end, which I don't apologize for. And then she said, again, thank you for everything you've meant to me in the last 10 years. And then she said, P.S. I didn't make a playlist for this one as I usually do because the music I'm listening to now didn't exist in 2005 when the story begins, and that felt off. And then she lists the soundtracks of the albums that she's been listening to. So if you're interested in reading Life and Death, maybe check out Royal Blood by Royal Blood, Seeds by TV on the Radio, and 2.0 by Big Data.
yeah. So I really like this one. My book actually is like already starting to like weather a little bit where I bend it from reading.
They're $7 right now on Amazon.
Yeah, they're cheap. I think I got mine for the same at Target, honestly. Um, so I was when I was reading this and I was reading his transition was just very described and detailed, which I love. I started thinking, what happens to all the bodily matter in a vampire when they turn? Because like the stomach fluid, like if you have like poop in your intestines, what happens to that? Does it just stay there forever? Does it solidify?
I'm guessing so. It's there forever because whenever a corpse does defecate itself. So I don't
That's
know
what that's what I
why.
was that's what I was thinking, like if they ended up like just pooping all like pooping while they were turning into a
Oh,
vampire.
that's embarrassing.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And someone I actually saw something that said like what if Edward like went against Bella's wishes and turned her when she found out she was pregnant? Would she would that like what would have happened with Renesmee? Would she have been like would she have given birth
He
like
would have
right
just
then and
if he turned her when she first found out. I think it's canon in the illustrated guide that they would she'd stay frozen. Like, so if she had a little bump, then she would have that little bump for the remainder.
wow.
So be pregnant and get changed into a vampire, because if you did, then you're gonna just have a frozen fetus.
Yeah. That was that's odd. Wow. Interesting. Wow.
I re- I really liked Life and Death. I don't know why I liked. To me, I just felt Beau and Edythe's relationship was a little more natural and realistic. But that's probably because of the fact that Stephanie added a lot more development to the conversations than in Twilight. So that's
Yeah.
probably why.
I really like
Now
it
she did do that with
also.
So she did do that with Midnight Sun because I do think Midnight Sun proves that their relationship was more natural. They got to know each other. I think it's because we saw this. I read this first before Midnight Sun that I thought Beau and Edythe were more like a compatible fit.
Yeah. I really like Life and Death. So I'm excited to see what she writes for her next 2 books. So we'll see what goes on
I
there.
really I really want a sequel to Life and Death. I know she's probably not going to do it, but I would love to see what Beau and Edythe are like now.
I would have loved
Did
to
they get married?
see this a movie adaptation or even a TV series of this of Life and Death.
Yes. Oh my god. I would want a TV show so that they could have everything from the book. They can have time.
Each chapter is an episode.
It's a long episode, but this was a good episode. So if you have read Life and Death, let us know maybe in the comments on YouTube or even on our Insta or TikTok. Like, did you agree with us? Did you agree? Did you point out things that were different that we missed? If you haven't read Life or Death, did this analysis make you want to pick it up and read it for yourself?
I was gonna say, I think it'd be interesting if she were to create more books, and the second book was like still about like the Quileute tribe, the werewolves or whatever. Somehow Jules figuring out that Beau is still alive and sees him. I'm like, I don't know. I just think it'd be very interesting. Maybe the Volturi has to come because somehow Charlie was in the woods and saw Beau, or I don't know.
Yeah. Or, Victor does make the newborn army, but Beau fights with them because he's a vampire.
Yeah. Wow. This is so very interesting. I can see so many different ways that this couldn't go. Like if we were to look at it as an entire series, but I guess we'll never know.
A popular ship in the Twilight fandom on YouTube is Bella and Edythe.
Oh, also Beau and Archie. I like Beau and Archie.
Yes, Beau and Archie. Oh,
Wow.
yes.
Okay, guys. So that is the end. We will convene at a later time. I still have to get my thoughts together from this one because it's an interesting one. It gets the brain thinking, the gears turning.
Yes,
Wow.
I love it. It's not for everyone. A lot of people, they don't enjoy it, and that's okay. But I'm a defender of Life and Death.
Me too. I agree. All right. Well, we'll see you next time where we're going to be answering your questions for Stephanie Meyer. So, we'll see you next time. Follow us on all of our social medias at the Bite Podcast RR. You can listen to us on Spotify or YouTube or wherever you like, except for Apple Podcasts. And we will see you guys next time. Bye.
See y'all next time.